Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So thank you very much for joining on this day 2 of this wonderful Gita SAAR, which we are doing. Each shloka of the Bhagavad-Gita is a class in itself. So it is quite difficult to summarize it in just 3 days. But taking inspiration from Krishna and Arjuna, they did it in just 48 minutes. So we are just trying to summarize. I would just like to start with this small analogy which we gave yesterday. We have compared the Bhagavad-Gita to a jewel box. The acharyas have done that. And the upper lid is the Karma Yoga, the Jnana Yoga. The bottom base is the Karma Yoga. And in between is the jewel of the Bhakti Yoga. So always the chapters 7 to 12 are a little special. They are closer to the heart of all the devotees. Once Srila Prabhupada was asked that if I have to study any chapter, if I don't have time, and if I have time to study only one chapter out of the 18 chapters, which chapter should I study? The answer was study the 9th chapter. So 9th chapter is very close to the heart of devotees. The entire essence of all the chapters is also there in the 9th chapter. So today we are covering the jewel of the Bhakti Yoga, the jewel of the Bhagavad-Gita. So we will start our session with a very short kirtan. Will not take much time, and then we'll quickly get into the discussion. All who are here physically and all those who are online, if you can hear me clearly and see me properly, can you please raise your hands to confirm? Okay. And those who are online, can you hear me? Okay. Apologies for the delay in starting today's session. Okay, so this is the auspicious Mangalacharan which we will do. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishe Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshasane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki Jai. So welcome everybody to this wonderful session of the Gita SAAR Day 2. And like we do in all the other sessions, we try to do everything only for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. There is no personal ambition. Personal ambition is a poison in spiritual life. So everything which we do, according to the Bhagavad-Gita, should be derived from some instruction coming from some superior authority. And when they get pleased, yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya prasadan nagatihi kutopi. Dhyayan stuvam tasya yashastri sandhyam vande guroho shri charanarvindam. When they get pleased with us, when our spiritual masters get pleased with us, that is a signal that the Supreme Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani are pleased with us. So in this session, we are trying to offer this session for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. It is dedicated to my spiritual grandfather, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And in order to seek his blessings and create the environment where devotees can sit together and talk, Tushyanti cha Ramanti cha, we will seek his blessings by chanting the pranam mantras. Those who know, they can repeat with me. Those who don't, just try to hear the sound vibration very nicely. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kant Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं हरिः ओम् तत्सत्। So just making some last minute technical adjustments. Putting my phone to silent, requesting all to put your phone to silent until unless you have a ringtone of the voice of a cow, that's allowed. Okay. Those who are online, can you still hear me? I just changed the settings. Are you able to hear me? Okay. So let's begin today's discussion. We are in the day 2. And we are discussing the glories of the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita. Chapter 7 is titled as Knowledge of the Absolute. If you remember, in the last verse of the 6th chapter, that was the seed verse for the next 6 chapters of the Bhagavad-Gita. Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam samay yuktah tamo matah. Amongst all the yogis, my devotee is most dear to me because he's always thinking of me in the core of his heart. So therefore, he's most intimately united with me. And in my opinion, he is the most supreme amongst all yogis. That was what Krishna said. Now, Krishna is going to give some explanations in the next 7 chapters how that yogi who is always worshipping Krishna, serving Krishna in loving devotional mood, how is he the most superior? So therefore, in the 7th chapter, Knowledge of the Absolute, he reveals the verse which I call as the Kevala Bhakti verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Sakta Manah Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayah Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gyayashitat Shrinu. So he's telling, now here, O son of Partha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness with me, mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So basically, Krishna is telling, you want to know about me, you hear from me, don't hear from others. The chapter 1 to 6 of the Bhagavad Gita, they talk about, they're very confidential. The chapters 7 and 8, they are more confidential. Guhyata, Guhyatara, and chapter 9 is the most confidential, Guhyatamam. And in this chapter, which is the Guhyatara chapter, the confidential chapter, very confidential chapter, Krishna is going to talk about 2 kinds of things about himself. He's going to talk about Jnana and he's going to talk about Vijnana. Jnana means the knowledge of the opulences of Krishna and the energies of Krishna, his spiritual opulence, his material opulence, how he creates the various universes, how he maintains it, using via the agency of various Purusha avatars and so on and so forth. And in the chapter 9, which is the favorite chapter of all the devotees, we will hear about the Vijnana, or the personal sweetness of Krishna. How he is so accommodative with the devotees, and how he deals with his devotees, how he uplifts his devotees, how he maintains his devotees, and how Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. Krishna goes to the extent of saying that bhaja, the word bhaja means worship. Krishna goes to the extent of saying that I worship my devotees also, to the degree to which they worship me. Actually, the word bhaja here in case of Krishna means reciprocation. So we'll be discussing the jnana, which will be there in the chapter 7 and 8, and in chapter 9, we will discuss the vijnana of Krishna. So moving on, in the verses 4 to 12, Lord Krishna talks about the jnana. He says, Bhumi rapo analo vayu kham mano buddhirevacha ahankara itiyam me bhinna prakritir ashtadha. So he tells about the material world. He says, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. They are all my separated material energies. And so if you see around yourself, all you find is earth, water, fire, air, ether. And then using these 5 basic elements, using your mind, intelligence, and ego, you make some combination out of it. And then we start saying, this is mine, my amplifier, my fan, my laptop, my mobile. But it's nothing but earth, water, fire, air, and ether, combined with some intelligence and some false ego and some mind. So Krishna says, then he also says about his little superior energy, aparayam itastva nyam, prakritam vidhime param, jiva bhut mahabaho, yayadem dharyate jagat. So he says, other than these material energies, that is the 8 material energy, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, there is a superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities. And what these living entities are? You and me, the spirit souls. Jivatma are the superior energy. And what is this Jivatma doing? Yayadam dharite jagat. Because they are in a superior position to my material energy, they are simply exploiting it. Point to be noted that there are many pseudo-spiritual organizations who only talk about peace of mind. But mind has got nothing to do with the self. In yesterday's session, we understood we are not the body, we are not the mind, we are the spirit soul. And Krishna says, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego are my separate material energies. So if I'm looking for peace of mind, that's not going to make me happy, because ultimately I'm the soul. If there are some so-called spiritual organizations who only talk about peace of mind, peace of mind, peace of mind, that has got nothing to do with the soul. Soul is something which is spiritual subject matter, means learning about who the soul is, what is the nature of the soul, how the soul transmigrates, how the soul evolves various subtle and material bodies, how the soul can revive its lost connection with Krishna, how can the soul feel happy. These kind of discussions are spiritual and not peace of mind. If somebody is a drug addict, simply by popping in some drug capsule, he can feel peace of mind for the next 72 hours. But that doesn't mean that that is peace. So, therefore, later on in the same chapter, Krishna explains more about himself and his knowledge, that is the jnana. He says, Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvam midam protam sutre maniganaiva. He says, Dhananjaya, O conqueror of wealth, Mattah parataram nanyat. There is no truth superior to me. That is why Srila Prabhupada always said that if you know Krishna, you know everything. So there is no truth superior to me, and everything rests upon me. Mai sarvam idam protam. Everything rests on me. Sutre mani gana iva. Just as pearls are strung on a string. So the beauty of a string or a garland is that the pearl or the flowers put in that garland, they are put in such a beautiful way that the thread will not be visible. The more beautiful a necklace or a garland means the thread will not be visible. So just see, Krishna has made this creation in such a way that everything appears to be autonomous, everything appears to be moving in its own way, in such a way that the hand of the Supreme Lord, until unless you have a trained eye, an eye where the ointment of love has been put, until unless you are trained by an expert devotee of Krishna, you'll never be able to see the hand of Krishna. That's why Krishna says, Mai sarvam idam protam sutre maniganaiva. This is a very, very deep verse where Krishna is very clearly saying that everything depends on me, everything which is manifested, unmanifested, pervading, non-pervading, it completely depends on me. So therefore, if I'm seeing something and if I'm not able to connect it with Krishna, that means I'm in Maya. But if I'm seeing something and I'm able to see how it's working under the Maya Dhakshayana Prakriti, that verse will come, under his jurisdiction and supervision, that means I'm properly situated. Okay, we move on. In the 8th to 11th verse of the 7th chapter, Krishna talks about the various vibhutis which he has. Rasoham apsu kauntaya prabhasmi shishuryaho pranava sarvavedu shabda khe o shamrishu. He says, I am the light of the sun, the cooling effect of the moon, I am the taste of the water, and I am the sound in the ether and the ability in the man, so on and so forth. And I have noted down a few more verses. In the next 4 verses, he says, I am the original fragrance of the earth. Listen, this is the Gyan of Krishna. You want to know who's God? This is God. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of the ascetics. O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, and the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all the powerful men. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of the Bharatas. So in this way, the Supreme Lord Krishna is maintaining this universe. And we know that in this material world, everything is the products of the material energy of Krishna and the modes of material nature, the mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Although Krishna is Acyuta, he is never touched by these modes of material nature, but we as Jivatmas or spirit souls, the marginal potency of Krishna, we are prone to be affected by the modes of material nature. In fact, all the time when we are there in this material world, we are always entangled in the modes of material nature. So how to come out of these modes? Then in the 14th verse, Krishna says, Daivi hi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Devi hi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. This divine energy of mine, in which, my dear part and parcel, you are entangled, gunamayi, comprising of the 3 modes of material nature, mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Duratyaya. It is very, very difficult to overcome. You can't overcome it. If you are thinking that I am not in Maya, you are definitely in Maya. And this Maya affects people in the mode of goodness also. Don't think that if I'm waking up at 4:30 a.m. in the morning and doing something very nice in my house, and I'm just cursing those people, look at them, they're waking up at 8 o'clock. Both of them are in Maya. So, Devi hi esha gunamaya, mama maya duratyaya. You cannot overcome it. How to overcome it? Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Those who surrender only to me, Krishna has made it clear, Mama Eva, not to Indra, Chandra, Durga, Kali, etc. Mama Eva. Mam Eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. He's literally telling, see, I am the boss. Maya is my energy. If you surrender to me, I'll tell Maya, don't disturb this person. But if you don't surrender to me, good luck. Duratyaya. And if Krishna has told Duratyaya, that means there's no question of trying also. Okay? So keep your doubts towards the end. We'll take some questions. We'll just continue as of now. And then he tells 4 kinds of people, they surrender to Krishna. And then 4 kinds of people who do not surrender to Krishna. So we will focus on 4 kinds of people who surrender to Krishna. Chatur vidha bhajante mam jana sukritano arjuna arto jignyasurartharthi jnani cha bharatarshabha. So 4 kinds of people will approach Krishna. And all these 4 are pious. Why? Because they have decided to approach Krishna. Who are they? The distressed one. Arto. It's distressed. I'm very much distressed in my life and nothing is going well. My house was burnt in fire. So many problems in my life. I'm approaching Krishna. Jignasu. The inquisitive one. The Gita SAAR seminar is going on. Anyways, I have nothing else to do. Let me just go and sit in the seminar. Let me just hear. Piety. That's piety. Artho, Artharthi, Jignyasi. Artharthi. desirer for wealth, who want money. Oh Krishna, you are Vaikuntapati. You are Lakshmipati. Can you give me a little bit of Lakshmi? See, I'm serving you. I'm worshipping you 2 times a day, 3 times a day. Please give me some money. And Jnani, one who's actually looking for the real success of life, who's thinking, is my life all about eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, or is there something higher to it? Am I just supposed to take care of my family, pay bills, and die one day? Or is there something higher to life? That is called Jnani. So therefore, amongst all these Artho, Artharthi, Jignasu, and Jnani, none of them are pure devotees. But the chances that a Jnani will sustain is higher. This Artho, Artharthi, and Jigyasu, after their sentiments or their desires and motivations have been fulfilled, they may leave Bhakti and go away. But the chances that a Jnani will continue are higher. And just to mention the 4 kinds of people who don't surrender to Krishna, there are very nice names given to them by Krishna. Krishna says those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest, who are they? Grossly foolish, lowest amongst the mankind, Maya Aprita Jnana, that means whose knowledge is stolen away by illusion, and who partake in atheistic nature of the demons, do not surrender to me. Grossly foolish, lowest of the mankind, Naradhama, and Maya Aprita Jnana, whose knowledge is stolen away by material desires and illusion, and those who are hardcore atheists. Okay, but pure devotees of Krishna are very, very rare. Even if a Jnani becomes a devotee or tries to become a devotee, to become a pure devotee is very rare. So therefore Krishna says, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevam sarvam iti sa mahatma sudurlabha. So even if somebody takes to the process of Krishna consciousness, to come to the understanding Vasudeva sarvam iti, that Krishna is everything, and my life is meant to serve Krishna and nothing else. To come to this realization, one may take many, many lifetimes. So the translation goes, after many, many births, one who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. Jnanavan mam prapadyate. So it takes a lot of whips of Maya, and it takes a lot of beatings from Maya to understand that yes, if I go on my own, I'll take millions of lifetimes to understand. But if I get the mercy of a pure devotee, one lifetime, I'll understand that yes, I should stop this nonsense and I should surrender to Krishna. So many lifetimes I've been chewing the chewed, and I've been doing the same thing which I've been doing in this life and my previous lifetimes. What have I ever got? Nothing except frustration. Repeated birth and death, entering the womb of a mother of various species every life. I should stop this business. I should surrender to Krishna. So one who understands this, this person is a Mahatma. The word Mahatma cannot be thrown away to be commonly used in elections and politics. This is the real function of Mahatma. Vasudevam sarvam iti. Knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. A person who is fully convinced that Krishna is Sarva Karana Karanam, he is called as Mahatma. And nobody else deserves this title. Moving on. Now, Krishna also, in the 7th chapter, Krishna a little bit also talks about the demigod worship and the impersonalism. He says that those whose intelligence is stolen away by material desires, actually from sloka number 20 to 23, it's a very, very big blow towards the demigod worshippers. Krishna says those whose intelligence is stolen away by material desires, they will worship the demigods according to their own natures. And then Krishna says, I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady. Who makes the faith steady? Krishna makes the faith steady, so that he can devote himself to that particular demigod. Now, endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, all these benefits are bestowed upon him by me, not by the demigod. I'm worshipping Indra, Chandra, Durga, Kali, and I'm thinking they are giving me everything. No, they don't have any potential to give you anything. Krishna sees, okay, this living entity is envious of me. He doesn't want to surrender to me. He's living life like an atheist. Okay, let me at least bring him into the Vedic perspective or the Vedic scriptures. the path given by the Vedas. Okay, he's envious of me, he doesn't want to surrender to me, he's in the mode of ignorance. Okay, let him get attracted to some demigod. He's in the mode of passion, let him get attracted to some demigod. He's in the mode of goodness, let him get attracted. Let him worship. And I will make his faith steady so that he continues. And ultimately, whatever he desires, I'm the Paramatma I knows. Let me give it to him. So that at least he stops being an atheist. And when one sincerely worships a demigod and asks for the absolute truth, then these demigods, being part and parcels of Krishna and being devotees of Krishna, they actually bring that person to the lotus feet of Krishna, provided their desire is pure. But generally, men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and the fruits which they achieve is very limited and temporary. Why? Because these demigods are also, for example, Brahma is also going through the cycle of birth, disease, old age, and death. And this is the same with all the other demigods. So whatever one achieves from these demigods is very limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods, yanti deva vrata devan pitrin yanti pritravata bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti mad yajino pimam. Those who worship the demigods, they go to the planet of the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors, they go to the Pitri Loka. Those who worship the ghosts and evil spirits, they take birth amongst such beings. And those who worship me, they live with me. For all the other conditions, Krishna says they take birth, they go, they hear, they do this. But Yantimad Yajino Apiman means those who worship Krishna, they go to Krishna Loka and they live with Krishna eternally. So these points are to be known. And then later on, Krishna also talks about the impersonalism, how they don't know Krishna perfectly. They think that Krishna is speaking, unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before. Avyaktim, Vyaktim, Apannam. They are thinking that I was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, who is saying this? Krishna is saying this. That all these impersonalists who feel that I am God, you are God, everybody is God. Krishna is calling them, due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable, supreme. So all this Krishna talks in these 6 verses, demigod worship and impersonalism. And later on he tells how to come out of this Maya. We heard Daivi Hiyesha Gunamayi, but later on he also says devotion to Krishna. This is again devotional verse, very, very devotional verse. Yesham to antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam drhavrataha. Qualification of becoming a devotee of Krishna is being told in this verse. Yesham to antagatam papam. For those people whose all sinful reactions are destroyed. Jananam punya karmanam, and their piety or punya has risen. Te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavata. Only they will be able to come out of illusion and worship me with full determination. So basically, Krishna is saying, until unless all your sinful reactions are fully destroyed, you cannot become my devotee. Now this will put everybody in confusion. How is it possible? I'm trying to depend on Krishna. I know I'm in Maya, I'm in a sinful situation. How can all my sinful reactions be eradicated? And then how can I take Yesham to antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam? So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that yes, it is not possible for a conditioned living entity to be sinless. Everybody is struggling. When Yesham to antagatam papam janana punya karmana, what is the punya which the people can do to become devotees of Krishna? They simply have to become respectful to the devotees of Krishna. They have to be respectful to the saintly people. When somebody is cultivating piety, the proof of their piety is that they are respectful to the saintly people. And when they become respectful, simply jananam punya karmanam, simply by looking at a devotee of Krishna, darshana pravitra kore ei tumhara gun. Simply by looking at Krishna's devotees, their sinful reactions get destroyed. So the verse is correct. Until you become sinless, you cannot become a devotee. So how will you become sinless? By being respectful towards a devotee of Krishna. And when you see the devotee of Krishna, simply by looking at him, you become sinless. And then when you serve him, Jananam Punya Karmanam, Tedvanda Mohanir Mukta, Bhajante Mam Dranavanta. Then you become fixed up. So once Srila Prabhupada was asked by one of his disciples, that Srila Prabhupada, we have taken birth in the Western countries. We have, meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, and intoxication was the culture in which we were brought up. We are also sinful. How did we become fortunate and how did we come to Krishna consciousness? The Srila Prabhupada said, yes, I have created your fortune. So an acharya or a devotee of Krishna, pure devotee of Krishna, makes everybody fortunate. A devotee is traveling, all of a sudden the traffic signal comes, he simply looks around everywhere and prays that, oh my dear Lord, please give pure devotional service to all the people who are around him. And simply by his prayers like this, by his presence like this, he creates fortune for everybody. Tesham yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam. Tedvanda mohanir mukta bhajante mam dranavanta. So this is a very, very important point. At least we should be respectful to the devotees, and by their help, we can become qualified, come out of the delusion of Maya and enter into the devotional realm of Krishna. With this, we move towards the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita. It's called Attaining the Supreme. How to attain Krishna? The aim of life is to not get a green-colored Lamborghini car. The aim of life is to attain Krishna. And you can attain Krishna by passing the final exam, which is called death. And at the time of death, when the pain of 40,000 scorpions biting together is troubling you, and when slowly and slowly multiple organ failures are happening, the test is that you have to remember Krishna. So it cannot be that maja bhi karenge, Bhagavad Dham bhi jayenge. I'll engage in all sinful activities, and towards the death, when I'm dying, I'll just tell someone, "Ek photo le aao Krishna ka." I'll just meditate. It's not going to. If you are thinking to cheat Krishna, Krishna will cheat you like anything. So Krishna is telling that Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering me alone at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. This is a very big science. Spiritual life is not about the art of living. It's about the art of dying. How you quit your body. It is a great misfortune that maximum people of this planet, they don't know about this. They are dying like cats and dogs with a bottle of beer in their hand and doing all abominable activities. They don't know what is there. This is a law of nature. See, laws of nature are very strict. You can't say that my parents didn't teach me Bhagavad-Gita, so I didn't know this law, so please excuse me. This is like telling the traffic inspector, I'm sorry, I didn't know this is the traffic law. This is like telling the income tax inspector that, okay, I didn't know this was my tax slab. Will they listen to you? No. So similarly, laws of nature are very, very strict. Ignorance is not an excuse. If you don't know, you have to suffer. So, Antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nati astra samshaya. There is no doubt about this. So, the safe way to never take birth again, go out of the cycle of birth, death, old age, disease, is to remember Krishna at the time of death. And remembering Krishna at the time of death is not a joke. It completely depends on what one has done throughout their life. How many of you have sat in some kind of an examination hall sometime at least? All of you? Does some magic happen in the examination hall? You have not studied and you have gone there and you saw the question paper and answers started coming out. Some angel is coming and whispering the answers. Does it happen? Does it happen? No, you fail. If you are spaced out throughout the semester or throughout the year, you will fail in the exam. So similarly, if I am not practicing or doing a sadhana of chanting the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. If I'm not chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if I'm not following the devotional principles, then it is not possible for me to remember Krishna. So therefore, Krishna again explains the law. He again, after saying this verse, he again tells the law. What is the law? Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram Tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Krishna is telling, okay, if you will not think of me, then whatever you will think, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, tyajatyante kalevaram, thinking of whatever XYZ you are quitting your body, tam tam evaiti kaunteya, you will become that. If I'm thinking of my wife, next life I'll become a woman. If I'm thinking of my property, I'm very attached to it, then I'll become a snake in the property and my own sons and people will come and kill me. It also depends on your karma. Suppose your karma is to become a cockroach in your next life, but you're thinking of the Rashtrapati Bhavan. What do you think will happen? You'll become a cockroach in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So I think you've understood this principle very nicely. Let me move forward. Then Krishna talks about remembering Krishna by Yoga Mishra Bhakti. How by doing the Shatu Chakra Yoga, raising your life hairs throughout Kundalini and etc., you can do some kind of remembrance of Krishna. But then Krishna says this is not the highest. What is the highest? Pure bhakti. Ananya chetah satatam yomam smarati nityashah tasyaham sulabhah partha nitya yuktasya yoginah. If you carefully note, tasyaham sulabhah partha. Krishna is using the word sulabha. That means I'm easily obtained. First, let's read the translation of this verse. The translation of this verse is, for one who always remembers me without deviation, ananya chetah satatam. I'm easy to obtain. Sulabha. Tasyaham sulabha partha. O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. You see the words which Krishna is using here. Ananya, nitya, satata. He's telling without deviation, constantly, always, not like today I remembered Krishna and then for the next 30 days I have a very intense project which is going on, I'll forget Krishna. It will not work out. Ananya chetaha satatam. And that personality whom everybody is trying to attain and nobody is being able to attain, he becomes sulabha, he becomes easily attainable when simply somebody does this ananya chetaha satatam. People who are practicing the Yoga Mishra Bhakti, they are struggling, simply struggling. Life after life, birth after birth. We have so many examples in the scriptures. But this pure bhakti is so attractive to Krishna. It attracts Krishna. Pure devotional service without any expectations, with a desire to please Krishna, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas. That means the way your spiritual master has asked you to do it. If you do this much, you become attractive in the eyes of Krishna. Not by putting gel in your hair. Okay? So, next, Krishna also talks about, in the same chapter, he talks about the spiritual worlds and the material worlds. How the material world is temporary, anityam, asukham, dukhalayam, ashashvatam. But how the spiritual world is eternal, and it is a wonderful place. One who goes there never returns. And the aim of life is to go back home, back to Godhead, to that spiritual world. Natad bhashayate suryo na shashanko na pavakah yad gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mamaha. He says that this spiritual world is so achintya, so unbelievable, so inconceivable that there is no need of sun, there is no need of moon, there is no need of electricity, there is no need of fire. Can you just imagine? The spiritual world is beyond our imagination. You can't even draw it because you have never seen or experienced it. And what Krishna says? One who goes there, he never returns. Such an attractive place. Is there any holiday destination on this planet where you will go from where you never want to return? Sorry? Grandmother's place. Go and try there for some time. When your grandmother will give you the same meal every day again and again, one day you'll say, I need to go back to my house and cook something unhealthy and eat. Don't take me wrong, but you'll get upset by after staying in your grandmother's house also after some time. I like your sentiment, but it is just a sentiment. It is not reality. Then, in the same chapter, Krishna talks about the supremacy of pure bhakti. Vedeshu yagyeshu tapashu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param sthanam upaiti chadyam. This is the last shloka of the 8th chapter, attaining the supreme. This says how the position of a pure devotee or a devotee of Krishna is better than all the jnanis, yogis and tapasvis. Please listen to the translation with a lot of attention. A pure devotee who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the result of studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. That means whether it is fruitive activities, philosophical activities, charity, austerity, sacrifices, and studying the Vedas, whatever you can get as the result of doing all this, you can get simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So Krishna is saying, simply by performing devotional service, associating with devotees, chanting Hare Krishna, eating Krishna Prasad, dancing in front of the deities, reading the Bhagavad-Gita. Simply by performing these devotional services, the devotee will attain all these things. And he will surpass all these jnanis, tapasvis and other people. How? By attaining the eternal abode, which these jnanis, tapasvis and philanthropists cannot attain. So that is the supremacy of bhakti. With that, we come to the chapter number 9. This chapter is called as the most confidential knowledge. As I was saying earlier, chapter 1 to 6 are guhya chapters, confidential chapters. Only one who is a devotee of, why I say confidential? Because the qualification to understand the first 6 chapters is that you need to be a devotee of Krishna. Now, chapters 7 and 8, which contain the jnana of Krishna, is more confidential, guhyatara. Now, Krishna is raising the heat. He's getting into a chapter which is called as most confidential knowledge, guhyatamam. And it starts by the glorification of pure bhakti. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshvagamamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartumavvyayam. What is the proof that Krishna exists? What is the proof that spiritual world exists? What is the proof that what I am doing is right? Pratyakshvagamamam Dharmyam. You will start feeling it. In Hindi, they say, Haath Kangan ko aarsi kya. When you have, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So when you are seeing it, when you are feeling the bliss within yourself, when you are seeing that you are able to overcome your anarthas, your lust, anger, greed, delusion, enviousness, and attachments are reducing on a daily basis, when you are seeing that you are not getting provoked in difficult circumstances, and all the time you are having a source of bliss which cannot be touched by anything which is around you, or let me speak more precisely, which cannot be hindered or disturbed by anything which is around you, that is the proof of Krishna and the spiritual world. That is Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam. So the translation says, this knowledge is the king of education. The most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization. It is perfection of religion. Simply if somebody understands this, their religious life will become perfect. And what is it? What is the best point about it? Susukham kartum avyayam. It is everlasting and it is very joyfully performed. It is not like you have to burn a circle of fire around you and in the month of summer sit between that fire, or go to Badrikashram and immerse yourself in water up to your neck where the water temperature is minus 20 degrees centigrade. No. Susukham kartum avyayam. Simply chant Hare Krishna, dance in front of the deities, take Krishna Prasad, go back to God. That's why this Rajavidya, Rajaguhyam is called as eating, singing and dancing process. Eat, sing and dance your way back home, back to God. How many of you want to do that? Eat, sing and dance your way back home, back to God. Of course, there will be some people who want to put their head down and put their leg up and hang somewhere because they cannot feel anything until they do that. So for them, there are the Shaka Chakra Yoga and other processes, but then many, many lifetimes. Then, in the most confidential knowledge chapter, Krishna talks about the Aishwarya Gyan, where he gives his relationship with the material world. And he says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavasthitah. By me in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. This is a very tricky statement of Bhagavad-Gita by Krishna. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. It says that Krishna is very good at managing everything by being personally present as well as not being personally present. So therefore, the photo which I have put here, you see, for those who are online, I will take the pencil, laser pointer. Here is Krishna. And then there are his expansions, which are called as the Purusha avatars. They further expand. And in this way, various incarnations keep coming and things are being managed like that. So what this verse basically means, that Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the 14-year-old boy walking bare feet, herding the cows, is not bothered so much. He expands himself into Balram. And Balram expands himself into the Vasudev, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, and Pradyumna. And then from Sankarshan comes the secondary Chaturvyuha. Again, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, and Pradyumna. And from the secondary Sankarshan of the second Chaturvyuha comes a personality called as Karanodakshaya Vishnu or Mahavishnu. From this Mahavishnu comes, as he breathes, so many universes come out from the pores of his body. Just like an entire banyan tree can be put in one small seed of banyan tree, similarly, from the pores of the body of Mahavishnu, various universes are coming out. In order to maintain those universes, Mahavishnu further expands himself as the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and lies in the Garbha of every universe, from the lotus navel of whom Brahma comes, and then various other demigods are created. But still, even after such a manifestation, until and unless Krishna is Sarva Vyapi in each and every atom and each and every heart of the living entity, the universe will not function. So therefore, he further expands himself as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, that form of Vishnu, which is lying on the milk ocean, which the demigods interact with every now and then. He becomes the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu to run everything. So in this verse, when Krishna says, all beings are in me, but I am not in them, he means that I have an expansion who is Mahavishnu. All beings are in him. And he is in me. So therefore, everything is in me, but I am not in them. Do you understand? That's the principle of delegation which Krishna has done. And then he tells very nicely about how the laws of material nature are completely subordinate to him. Mayadhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetu nanena kaunteya jagadvi parivartate. So this material energy is working like a shadow under the direction of Krishna. Whatever he does, just like a shadow, when you move, your shadow moves with you. Can your shadow do anything separate from what you want to do? Or can it just go against you? Is it possible that you are moving, but your shadow has started moving somewhere else? No. So it's completely following in the footsteps of Krishna. So this material energy cannot do anything against the will of Krishna. This material energy is commonly known as Durga. And there are many Durga worshippers. With all due respect to them, Mother Durga is the wife of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva is the greatest devotee among the topmost Vaishnavanam Yathashambhu. So both husband and wife are very nice devotees of Krishna. So if somebody worships Krishna, these husband and wife, they'll become very happy. There is no need to separately worship somebody else. If you worship Krishna, it is like watering the root of a tree. Simply by watering the root of a tree, the entire tree or plant is maintained. Simply by worshiping Krishna, everything will be okay. So this brings us to two kinds of people. Despite knowing this confidential knowledge, fools and impersonalists, they will consider Krishna an ordinary human being whenever he will descend. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Although Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and although he is pervading the entire universe, Sutre Manigana, just like a necklace, all the pearls are resting. So Krishna is the source of the maintenance, and everything is being taken care of him, care of by him. Still, when he derides, when he descends in his eternal spiritual self-same form, fools deride me, he says. Fools deride me when I descend in my human form. They do not know my transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord of all that be. There was Shishupal, the photo of which I have given here. He tried to blaspheme Krishna, and there was a person called Poundrak. He said, I am Krishna. And there is Jarasandha and Kamsa, and the list is endless. You have to check whether your name also is there in the list or not. So they will never agree that Krishna is the Supreme Personality. That is why in the Bhagavatam, when Lord Chaitanya descended in the material world from the spiritual world, Lord Chaitanya, for those who don't know, he is an incarnation of Krishna in Kali Yuga. So about him it is said, Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yajnaihi Sankirtanai Praya Yajantihi Sumedhashaha. So Krishna comes in Kali Yuga not in a blackish complexion, but in a golden complexion. Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishna. And he comes with his confidential associates, companions, pure devotees, and weapons. What is his weapon? The Mridanga and Kartal. And the path of pure devotional service, Kirtan. Yajnai Sankirtanai Praya Yajantihi Sumedhasha. In this age of Kali Yuga, this incarnation will descend and he will chant his own names and he will start the Sankirtan movement. And only those who are most intelligent, Sumedhasha, will be able to recognize him. Those who are less intelligent, they'll be in this Avajananti Mamudha category. Manushim Tanmashita. Okay? So only the most intelligent people, whether it is Kali Yuga or whether it is Dwapar or Satyuga or Treta, in all the times, only the most intelligent people are able to recognize Krishna. And there are people like Pondrak and Shishupal and etc. But the pure devotees of Krishna are not like this. They always worship Krishna constantly with love and devotion. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritah bhajantya ananya manaso Yatva bhutadim avyayam. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritah. So it says the pure devotees of Krishna who are ananya bhaktas of Krishna, they are under the divine protection. Now in the 7th chapter also, Daivi hiyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. We saw the word Daivi being used here and Daivi being used here also. What is the difference? That Devi, which Krishna is referring to, refers to his Yog Maya Shakti, which is dealing with conditioned souls, which is dealing with the modes of material nature. But this Daivim Prakriti Ashritaha deals with the Mahatmas. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport that this Devi is Srimati Radharani. So those who are Mahatmas, Vasudevam Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlubha. Those who have understood that Krishna is everything and life is meant to be dedicated to Krishna, they are Mahatmas. And they are under the protection of Srimati Radharani. Bhajantya Ananya Manaso. They will always render pure devotional service to Krishna without deviation. Gyatva Bhutadim Avyayam. Knowing him to be the Supreme Lord. Now, this 9.13 and 9.14. 9.14 says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha drihavratah namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. So what do these pure devotees, what do these Mahatmas do? Satatam kirtayanto mam. Continuously they will chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. And their determination is Dridhavrata. They are very determined. Not that my health is not good, I will not chant today. Not that difficult project in office, I will not chant today. Not that my spouse misbehaved with me, I will not chant today. Not that my vehicle is not working, I will not chant today. Not that my head is paining, I will not chant. No, Dridhavrata. Not that my mind is not focusing, I will not chant. No, Dridhavrata. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya. They will always offer obeisances to Krishna. Not that Krishna, my son was sick in Corona and then my son passed away. So therefore I will stop worshipping Krishna. I will delete the numbers of all the devotees from my mobile and I will hate the devotees and I will hate Krishna. This is actually a case. One should not be like this. One should not put conditions on Krishna. We don't know that we are reaping the results of our own activities. So why should we be cursing Krishna for the results? So in all circumstances, namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. One has to live like that. Now, what is the speciality of these two verses and why it is, we are specifically talking it in relation to Srimati Radharani? Because these two verses, they are the most confidential verse of Bhagavad-Gita. Before this verse, there are 700 slokas in the Bhagavad-Gita. So before this verse, 700 by 2 is 350. So before this verse, there are 349 slokas, and after this verse, there are 349 slokas. These two verses are the 350th and the 351st verse of the Bhagavad-Gita. So there is a reason why Krishna has put it in between. So therefore, the analogy of the jewel box is very appropriate. So 9.13 and 9.14 are the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. They are the real substance. And Krishna has put it right in the middle to save it from the onslaughts of the atheists and the foolish commentators. They hardly are able to recognize this verse, or hardly they are able to reach this verse. Many people start the Bhagavad Gita, after 6th chapter, they close it and never read it. So, that's what Krishna is very nicely putting it in the middle. Daivim Prakriti Mashika. This is Srimati Radharani. Those who are pure devotees, they are under the shelter of Srimati Radharani. And Srimati Radharani is so humble and she is the topmost devotee of Krishna. No matter who you are, if you pray to Srimati Radharani, and my dear mother, Srimati Radharani, please recommend my name to Krishna. Immediately, she is not like Krishna. She is not, once Srila Prabhupada said, Srimati Radharani is not as cruel as Krishna. So Krishna may tell you, ye yatha mam prapadyante, you come up to the standard and I'll help you. I'll uplift you from the cycle of birth and death. But Srimati Radharani immediately goes and says, my dear Lord, my dear Krishna, you see this devotee is praying, you know this devotee? Yeah, Krishna says, yeah, I know him. He went away from the spiritual world some time ago. So yeah, you know him, yeah? He's a better devotee than me. What are you saying, Srimati Radharani? He's a better devotee than me. Yeah, you don't trust me? No, I trust you completely. So please give your mercy to me. Yes, I will give. So if you want short mercy and foolproof mercy of Krishna, pray to Srimati Radharani. Daivim Prakriti Ashrita. Until unless you take shelter of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, until she is pleased with you, you cannot attain the lotus feet of Krishna. So one has to pray. And this is the secrets of Bhagavad Gita, which we are discussing. Again, in the same chapter, Krishna talks about various kinds of jnanis, ekatvena, prithaktvena, vishvato mukham, all these kinds of jnanis. Ekatvena jnanis, they think that they are only God. Prithaktvena, they think that God has many forms like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Kali, Durga, Shiva, etc. And they'll worship various demigods, thinking that all paths lead to the same path. Kuch bhi, kisi ko bhi worship karo, ultimate result is the same. So they are the Prithaktvena category. And Vishvato Mukham, there are some kind of so-called jnanis who will think the universal form of Krishna is the ultimate. Krishna is standing in front of us, we don't want to worship Krishna. We want to worship the universal form of Krishna. So these are some kind of jnanis which Krishna talks about. And then Krishna talks about how the pure devotees are completely protected always. Ananyas-chintayanto mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshema vahamyaham. This verse means those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, ananyas-chintayanto mam, meditating on my transcendental form. To them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. Many people look for motivation to worship Krishna. This is the motivation. Krishna is telling, Yoga Kshema Vahamya Aham. Those who are my pure devotees, Ananyastin. This is not valid for everybody. Huh? I started chanting one round. Krishna is not personally coming. Ananyas Chintayantu Maham. Those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, not on my universal form, on my transcendental personal form. To them, I carry what they need and I preserve what they have. Really, Krishna does this. He doesn't mean, please don't think that if you become a pure devotee of Krishna, Mahavishnu will take care of you or some other incarnation of Krishna will handle you. No, he will personally. The word yoga can mean the way I'm trying to approach Krishna by the practice of my spiritual life. Kshema means, Kshema can also mean inspiration, protection, guidance. So Krishna ensures us that we become successful in our process of bhakti. That is, he carries to us what we lack. I'm lacking a pure heart. So Krishna will ensure that my heart becomes pure over a period of time. And then Krishna says, I promise that I'll preserve what you have. That means whatever bhakti you practice will never be destroyed. These are the various ways in which you can understand. And this Krishna will not delegate to anybody. Personally, he will do this. So there is a very nice pastime which I will take 2 minutes to say. Arjunasakha, a very famous devotee of Krishna, when he was reading this verse, he says, Yogakshema Vahamya Aham. What is this? Ishwaraha Paramaha Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. That Govinda, who is the source of all Vishnus, he will come down personally. That Govinda is simply moving around the banks of Yamuna, playing the flute, herding the cows, having pastimes. Why should he come for conditioned souls? So he says, oh, this is not the right shloka. He crossed it, striked it with his pen. And then his wife was shouting at him, there's nothing to eat in the house. What is this? Whole day you're studying Bhagavad-Gita. Go and get something. And Krishna, and that time Arjunasakha was thinking, yeah, it's correct. Yogakshema Vahamyam. I need rice, I need dal. Krishna is not coming to deliver it to me. Definitely this verse is some problem. So in the spiritual world, Krishna was having some pastimes and people saw that on his body, 2 scratches have come. Because Arjunacharya scratched these verses, those scratches manifested on his body. Immediately he and Balram, they descended in the material world. And they came to the house of Arjunacharya. And he was not there, only his wife was there. Of course, beautiful looking boys, 2 boys, anybody who looks at them will forget the entire world. One darkish, one whitish, they came carrying huge sacks of rice and dal and other grocery items. And they said that Arjunacharya has asked us to deliver this to you. And then simply by looking at their beautiful forms, the wife was thinking, my husband has become so cruel. He is asking these young, tender boys to lift so much rice and dal and other grocery items. Why can't he send anybody else? So he said, you please come in. She said, please come in, have some food, have some water, take some rest. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. Acharya has beaten us. You see the marks on our body? Acharya has beaten us. And if he sees us again, he may beat us again. So we will just deliver and go away. This is a real pastime. So when he came back, of course, he didn't get any alms that day. He came back and he just silently went to his room and sat down, thinking that anyways, the radio transmitter will start again. You didn't bring anything. There's nothing to eat in the house. But then he saw that his wife has cooked so many items and she is eating. Generally, the custom is that the wife waits for the husband to eat first. So he asked, that what's the problem? Today you are eating before me and you're not serving me also. He said, I'm not serving you because you're a cruel man. Why did you beat those 2 boys? And then he was bewildered. Arjunacharya asked, what's going on? I didn't do anything. So the wife, then he asked his wife, describe those 2 boys. Then she gave the description and then he understood that Krishna and Balram personally came. And then he went to his Bhagavad-Gita and removed those 2 lines, Yoga Kshema Vahamya. He understood that Krishna personally maintains his pure devotees. That is the essence of this verse. So have no doubt about what is written in the scriptures. Especially when Krishna says, Yoga Kshema Vahamya Aham. Krishna will personally maintain you. Okay? And then this verse is one of the most famous verses of Bhagavad-Gita. This talks about the simplicity of bhakti. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachhati tad aham bhaktya uparhitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. This verse says that you need not be a king to worship Krishna. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. A leaf, a flower, a fruit or water. In a sense, Krishna is not trying to say that I can be worshipped by poor people also. That is not the intention of Krishna. The intention of Krishna here is to say that I am a simple person and I like people who are simple. You have one patra, one tulsi leaf, offer to me and purchase me. You have one flower with the consciousness that yes, everything belongs to Krishna. What can I give anything to Krishna? So let me offer this flower which already belongs to Krishna. And let me surrender myself. Phalam, toyam. Let me offer the results of my work. Let me offer some nice fruit. Anybody can collect some clean water and offer to Krishna. And if one becomes more mature in their devotional life, they can offer the tears from their eyes to Krishna. So that's the meaning of this verse. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. If one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. Krishna accepts it. When he was walking in the Mathura, Sudama, the florist, offered him a garland, he accepted it. Shabari offered him in his Rama incarnation some fruits to eat, he ate it. Like this Vidura offered him a very, very humble meal, he ate it. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. And the principle is bhaktya. You have to offer with devotion. Krishna is not hungry for your puri and rasgulla. Krishna wants love and devotion. So if with love and devotion you offer him anything which is falling in the category of patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, and not meatam, vinam, chickenam, and other things. Krishna says, tada aham bhakti uparitam. When it is offered with love and devotion, I will accept it. Yeah? So this verse talks about the simplicity of the process of the bhakti yoga. And then glories of Krishna bhakti. Somebody can say, okay, I am not at that platform. I don't have pure love for Krishna. What should I do? This verse, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, is Kevala Bhakti verse. But then someone may say, I am not a Kevala Bhakta. I am a motivated Bhakta. I want some things from Krishna I want. So what to do? Krishna says, okay, if you are not a pure devotee, still you worship me. Yad karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhoshi dadashi yad tapashyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. He says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer and give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. And Krishna says that he's not partial. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priyah ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maititeshu chapyaham. Krishna says that he is not partial. He is equal to everybody. But ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya, those who are my devotees, maititeshu chapyaham. I am in him and he is in me. That means, although he is telling I am not partial, but this verse seems to say that, oh, Krishna is saying I am a little bit partial also. Actually, Krishna is not partial. Krishna is telling I am not partial to anybody. And through this verse of Bhagavad-Gita, I am giving everybody. I am very impartial in allowing everybody to come into the arena of my partiality. That is what Krishna is telling. You want special famous for me? Become my devotee. And then I'll take care of you. Yoga Kshema Vahamya. So Krishna is not partial or impartial. He is reciprocal. That is what this verse means. And anybody can get his special favor. It is not, Krishna is not telling that only Indians will get it, or only Africans will get it, or only the people of Ukraine will get it and people from Russia will not get it. Krishna is not speaking like that. He is telling, Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya. Anybody who worships me, serves me, he comes in my arena of partiality. Then I will take care of that person. Okay. And lastly, Krishna speaks how he excuses and purifies an imperfect devotee, practicing devotee. Api cheta suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktah pranashyati. These verses basically mean even if one commits most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, bhajate mam ananya bhak. That means without any deviation, ananya bhak, without doing Vaishnava Prarthana. If he is engaged in my devotional service, even if he commits some abominable action due to past samskaras or past practice, he is to be considered saintly. Sadhureva samantavya. We cannot start pointing fingers. Why? Because samyak vyavasito hisaha. Because he is properly situated and his determination is pakka. If a person is very dirty and if he is going towards the bathroom with a bucket and mug in his hand to have bath, should we scold that person for being dirty? No. It's just a matter of time that he'll become clean. So similarly, if we find a devotee of Krishna engaged in some abominable activities, we should not take it against him. We should understand that Krishna has taken his responsibility. And Krishna has ordered each and every one of us to consider him as a devotee. Sadhureva samantavya. But then this verse is not a license verse that, okay, no matter what I do. So therefore Krishna says, Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. So devotees of Krishna are very accountable and very responsible. This verse talks about not the frequent premeditated mistakes. This verse talks about the accidental, non-intentional, circumstantial mistakes which a devotee does. Okay? And then very soon, Shipram bhavati dharmatma. Very quickly he becomes righteous and attains lasting peace, O son of Kunti. And he says, declare it boldly. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. That my devotee never perishes. A devotee of Indra will perish. Ravana, who is a devotee of Shiva, will perish. But a devotee of Krishna, name bhakta pranashyati. He will never be destroyed. Whose promise is this? Krishna's promise is this. Okay? And now, the essence of the Bhagavad-Gita. The Gita Mahatmya says that the essence of all Upanishads is the Bhagavad-Gita. And in the Bhagavad-Gita, we saw that the chapter 9 is the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. And then we saw the verses 13 and 14, which talk about the essence of the essence of the essence of the Bhagavad-Gita. This verse is the essence of the essence of the essence of the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. If you have to tell someone in one line what spiritual life is, this is the answer. Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yukta vaivam atmanam matparayanaha. How to get the favor of Krishna, how to become a devotee of Krishna, how to become dear to Krishna. Engage your mind always in thinking of Krishna. Become Krishna's devotee. Offer obeisances to Krishna and worship Krishna. 4 things. Think of Krishna, become a devotee of Krishna, offer obeisances to Krishna and worship Krishna. Being completely absorbed in Krishna, you will certainly reach Krishna. This is the promise of Krishna. Mam evaishyasi yuktavai. Definitely you will achieve. There's no doubt about it. This kind of promises Krishna has made in the 9th chapter. This brings us to the 10th chapter, which talks about the opulence of the Absolute. Knowing that Krishna is the unknowable source of all. Nobody can understand Krishna. Name viduhu suraganaha prabhavam na maharshayah aham adirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. So here Krishna is saying, neither the hosts of the demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages. Jiva Goswami in his Shat Sandarbhas, he says that until and unless our worshipable Ishtadev is inconceivable to us, it is not possible to remain humble and render devotional service. If I can understand God, then either one day I will become God or I will try to make someone else as God. But if I can never understand God, I can only remain humble and worship Him. So that is what Krishna is telling. That look, boss, Name vidu suraganaha prabhavam nam maharshaya. All these Maharshis whom you are taking shelter of, they also don't know me. The demigods also don't know me. Even later on in the Bhagavatam, it is said, nobody in the material world or in the spiritual world understands him. Don't think that the people of Vaikuntha or Krishna Loka, they'll understand Krishna. Even they don't understand Krishna. So here is a perfect personality whom we will never understand, whom we can only surrender to with humility and worship him. Nobody can predict what Krishna will do the next moment. Would you like to worship such a personality? Yes, because mind always looks for a place where something newer and newer experiences keep coming. And there is only one personality who can give you that experience. That is Krishna. Otherwise, mind will deviate from there and they will try to look into the neighbor's house, the neighbor's wife, the neighbor's car, the neighbor's dog. And you'll feel, I'm loving my neighbor. But then you're deviating from the religious principle. Moving on. So Krishna is inconceivable. He cannot fit into our preconceived notions. And that makes him worshipable. And pure bhakti, the essence of Bhagavad-Gita, comes later on in the 10th chapter only, where he says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. Krishna says, you have doubts about my superiority? Listen to this. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. So whenever we see a pure devotee of Krishna engaged in the service of Krishna, he should not be considered a mad person. He is the most wise person. Because he has understood aham sarvasya prabhavo. He is not thinking that the chief minister or the prime minister or me or my talent or my energies or my intelligence or my money or my degree is something very important. No. He's thinking Krishna is the most important. And a person who understands this, he will buddha bhava samanvita, engage in devotional service with all their hearts. Aham sarvasya prabhu. He is the source of all material and spiritual worlds. There is no truth superior to Krishna. And what are these buddha bhava samanvita doing? What are the symptoms of these pure devotees? Machchitta madgata prana bodhayantah parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. The thoughts of my devotees, pure devotees, dwell in me. Machchitta. Their lives are fully devoted to my service. Madgata prana. And they derive great satisfaction and bliss by always enlightening one another and conversing about me. Bodhayantah parasparam kathyantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. When two devotees of Krishna, they meet, they only talk about Krishna. Many of you who are attending these sessions are also devotees. So we should analyze. Do we need a mic and a hall and a seminar kind of a setup to talk about Krishna? When I am meeting the other devotees, when I am having so-called private discussions, am I following this principle of Kathyantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha? Am I acting like a devotee in front of 10,000 people, in front of a mic, or in my private conversations also Krishna is there? Or in my private conversations, I'm simply discussing what that devotee said and what this devotee did and what that happened and when this happened. So I should check, do a reality check. What kind of a devotee I am? This brings us to the special favor which Krishna does to his devotees. He gives them intelligence and destroys their ignorance. This special favor he doesn't do for the jnanis, yogis, and the karmis. Only for devotees he does this favor. Tesham sadada yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love. Tesham sadada yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhujis and Matajis. I think there's some technical glitches in the center, maybe power cut. So please wait. Prabhuji will be joining soon. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So sorry for that short break. This is a village and the current keeps going. And now the current is back. Yoga Kshema Vahamya. To my devotees, I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So those who are online, can you still hear me? If you can hear me, can you please raise your hands? Okay. So I will again start my screen share. Is the television on? Can we switch it on? We'll just wait for 1 minute for the setup to happen. So we were talking about the verse, Tesham sadada yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. And then, this is a special mercy which Krishna does on his devotees. Tesham evanukam partham aham ajnana jamtamaha nashayami atma bhavastho jnana deepena bhasuta. Krishna says to show them special mercy. To show them special mercy. It is not some ordinary mercy. It is special mercy. Okay, the screen is ready. I'll just share my screen. It's coming, it's coming. Just leave it as it is. So I'm going to share my screen for those who are online. Okay, so Krishna is telling to show them special mercy. I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. This mercy he does not show on the jnanis or the yogis or the karmis. This is special mercy. That means if there is filth in my heart, Krishna will personally enter my heart through the holes of my ears. When I hear the holy name, form, qualities and pastimes of Krishna, then he will enter through the holes of my ears into my heart and he will personally clean that. With the shining lamp of knowledge, I will destroy the darkness born of ignorance. Again, Krishna is telling, I will do that. This is the personal responsibility of Krishna. So those who are a little bit unsettled, we need only 10 minutes to end the seminar today. So please cooperate. Then Krishna talks about, Arjuna comes into action. He starts speaking. Arjuna vacha param brahma param dhama pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam adidevam ajam vibhum ahustvam rishayah sarve devarshir naradastatha asito devalo vyasah swayam chaiva bravishime. So Arjuna is telling, he is now accepting the supreme position of Krishna in the 10th chapter. He says, you are the supreme personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. So some qualities of Krishna are these on Param Brahma, Param Dhamam, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Shashvatam, Divyam, Adidevam, Ajam Vibhum. And it's not that Arjuna is the friend of Krishna, so he's saying it. He's trying to flatter Krishna. No. Arjuna proves it to everybody that I'm a friend of Krishna, so I may be saying for the purpose of flattery. But it's not just me. There are great personalities like Narada, Acyuta, Devala, Vyasa. They confirm this truth about you. And you yourself are also telling it to me. So all the authorities, they agree that Krishna is the supreme personality of God. And then the next few verses 19 to 42, they talk about the various vibhutis of Krishna, as you can see in this picture. This one picture states it all, where Krishna says, amongst the sages, I am Narada, amongst the Pandavas, I am Arjuna, amongst the equities, I am the shark, amongst the animals, I am the lion, amongst, he gives so many examples, that they are the vibhutis. Arjuna asks Krishna, that how can I understand your opulence? So Krishna says, my opulence is unlimited, you cannot understand. So based on what your understanding is based on your situation in this universe, you can have some references, or you can try to understand using some relativity. So I'll explain to you. Amongst the sages, I'm the Narada. So in that relative way, you try to understand. Amongst the aquatics, I am the shark. Just try to understand me, like that. Amongst the demons, I am Prahlad. Try to understand me. So Krishna gives some references by which someone can understand his unlimited opulence, but then in the end he says, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam srimad urjitam eva va tad tad eva evavagachattam mamatejo amsha sambhavam. He says, know that all opulent, beautiful, glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. What is that spark? Mahavishnu. Everything is coming from Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is a plenary expansion of the plenary expansion of the plenary expansion of the plenary expansion of the plenary expansion of Krishna. So everything, yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam srimad urjitam eva va. There is no limit to my glory, and I cannot describe it, nobody can describe it. You just understand this much, my dear Arjuna, that all that which you see around in this universe with your two eyes is just a spark of my splendor. So therefore, if you want to really know my splendor, come back home, back to Godhead by chanting Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama. This brings us to the universal form, chapter number 11. You know, Arjuna requests Krishna to show his universal form. In the 10th chapter, he describes his vibhutis. There is description, not exhibition. So in the 11th chapter, so that Arjuna knows that in Kali Yuga there will be people who will be born and who will question, oh, how do I believe Krishna is like this? So in the 10th chapter, Krishna describes it, but in the 11th chapter, Arjuna requests Krishna to display it so that everybody will believe that yes, Krishna is the Supreme Personality. So then he requests Krishna to show his universal form, and Krishna shows the universal form. He says, look at this. Everything which you can think of, the past, present, and future, everything in just one place. That is the universal form. And then Lord Krishna describes his universal form also. Very nice description Krishna gives. And then the conversation, Arjuna, when he is seeing that, he's not able to process that universal form. And for some time, he becomes quiet. And then we see that in the verses 9 to 14, Sanjaya starts speaking. That the universal form is like this, you know, many bellies, many hands, many legs, many mouths, blah, blah, blah. And then when Arjuna comes to sanity after seeing, then again, the conversation from the outer loop comes into the inner loop. And then Arjuna starts saying, oh, the universal form is like this. Okay. So let's listen to the Arjuna's description of the universal form. Aneka bahudhara vaktranetram pashyami tvam sarvato anantarupam nantam na madhyam na punastavadhim pashyami vishveshvara vishvarupa. This is the Vishvarupa. Arjuna is telling, oh Lord of the universe, oh universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, no beginning. So this is the Vishvarupa. But after Vishvarupa, in the 11th chapter, if you study, something very strange happens. That Vishvarupa gets converted into the Kalarupa. And in the Kalarupa, Arjuna starts seeing that in the mouth of Krishna, Drona, Karna, Bhishma, they are all going in and they are dying. So Arjuna was able to process this Vishvarupa. But when he saw the Kalarupa, he couldn't process it. He became so afraid that he started praying to Krishna that become merciful upon me. He says, O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be merciful to me, gracious upon me. I cannot keep my balance seeing your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions, I am bewildered. Who is Arjuna? He is a personal friend of Krishna. He has so many military certificates. And now he has seen that I am safe. All my enemies are dying. Please understand this verse. He has seen that I am safe and all my enemies are dying and I am going to be victorious. But still he is afraid. You can just imagine how ferocious this Kalarupa is. That's why Krishna says, Mrityu sarva harascham. I come as death and take away everything. Kalarupa. So Vishvarupa becomes Kalarupa. And after that, Krishna, when Arjuna is fully bewildered, He can understand the form of Vishnu as Vishwarupa, all the demigods in it and all the rivers and everything. But he's not able to understand this Kala Rupa, unheard of, unseen of. In the Bhagavad Gita, it's described that all the people who were spiritually awake, who were able to see the Kala Rupa in different manifestations, all of them were running away out of fear. So therefore, out of this confusion, Arjuna asks, "Who are you, my Lord?" And the reply comes, "Time I am, become my instrument." Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalosmi Lokshaya Krit Pravriddho Lokan Samahartum Iha Pravrittah Rite Pitvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve Yeva Sthitah Pratyanikeshu Yodhaha. The Supreme Personality said, "Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds. I have come here to destroy all the people with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All soldiers here will be slain on both the sides." So therefore, Krishna says, just become my instrument. Get up, prepare to fight, win the glory. You become my instrument and you take the glory. Conquer your enemies, enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement. O Savyasachi, become my instrument and just fight. That's what Krishna is saying. Whether Arjuna had fought or would have not fought or would have fought, the result would have been the same. So similarly, the spiritual masters, they give some goal, some vision. It is up to us to fulfill it or not fulfill it. Whether we endeavor or whether we don't endeavor, it is going to happen. It is only our intelligence when we try to do something, what Krishna has said about or what spiritual master has said about, that will make us glorious. Okay. And this brings us to the last chapter of the Bhagavad-Gita, which happens to be the smallest chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. This chapter is called as the Monologue Chapter because in this chapter only Krishna is speaking. So if you want to make a plan to study some chapter, you know which chapter to choose. Okay. So Arjuna asks, who is more perfect? Personalist or impersonalist? Devotee or Mayavadi? So Bhagavan gives the answer. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Vesha Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopeta Stime Yukta Tamamataha. Arjuna is asking, who is more perfect? Those who worship you or those who worship the impersonal Brahman? The answer is, those who fix their minds on my personal form. Maya Veshya Mano Ye Mam, personal form. And are always engaged in worshipping me with great transcendental faith, are considered by me to be the most perfect. And then Krishna says in the comparison to this, Klesho Dhikataras Tesham Avyaktasakta Chetasam Avyakta Hi Gatir Dukkham Devadhir Avapyate. For those whose mind is attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, to make progress in this discipline is very difficult. Krishna is telling that Mayavad, the path of meditating on the Brahman is very difficult as long as you have this body. And the path of Bhakti is the foolproof path or the easier path. Krishna says, but those who worship me, Yetu Sarvani Karmani Mai Sanyasya Matparaha Anyanyeva Yogena Mam Dhyayanta Upasate. He says, those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me. See, so many times he's telling me. He wants people to understand this. O son of Pritha, I do a special favor to them. What do I do? Tesham aham samudhartha mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha maya veshita chetasam. O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer. Bhavami na chirat partha. I will not delay. What I will do? I will deliver them from the ocean of birth and death. Mrityu samsara sagarat. Very quickly I will take them up from the cycle of birth and death. This I will not do for Mayavadis. And then Krishna talks about the progressive levels of bhakti. Krishna is a very accommodating person. After hearing all this, people say, I'm not up to that standard. So Krishna says, just manmana bhav mad bhakto. Think of me. Fix your mind upon me. If you can't do that, then make a plan using your intelligence to fix your mind upon me. If that is also not happening, just try to fix your mind upon him. That means make a sadhana routine, and I will chant for 2 hours. I can't think of you for 24 hours, but I'll make a sadhana. I'll chant for 1 hour, 2 hours. I'll read the book for half an hour. I will do this. I'll get up at this time. So I'm trying to fix my mind on Krishna. If I cannot do that also, then I should work for Krishna. Not that 99% for my wife and 1% for Krishna. That too, if somebody calls and asks, Prabhuji, give some donation. So I will work for Krishna. I am very attached to money, hard-earned money. So I will give some money to Krishna. Best possible, don't take money, simply work for Krishna. Suppose if you have some talent, use it in Krishna's service. That is called giving up the results of work for Krishna. So Krishna is telling progressive levels of bhakti. Try to fix your mind upon him. If you can't do that, try to fix your intelligence upon him. If you can't do that, try to fix your mind upon him. Do some sadhana. If you can't do that, then just work for Krishna. If you can't even do that, give up the results of your work. Do some kind of charity in the service of Krishna. If you cannot do that also, then you go back to the first chapter and start reading. Okay? And then the 20th chapter ends where Krishna is speaking the qualities which make one very dear to Krishna. He talks about humility, forgiveness, satisfaction, non-envy, equanimity, respect, compassion, tolerance, etc., etc. So it is not that these qualities devotees very strive hard to develop. No, these qualities automatically surface in devotees. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunais tatra samasate suraha. Harav abhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathe nasati bhavato bahi. Anybody who is a devotee of Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, by the mercy of Krishna will automatically develop these qualities, and these qualities are mentioned in verse 13 to 20. And how to become very, very dear to Krishna. Yetu dharmamritam idam yathoktam paryupasate shraddha dhana mat parma bhaktastetiva me priyaha. Krishna is telling, this is how the 12th chapter ends. Please listen. This is the ending verse of the 12th chapter and the last verse for today. It has a very, very deep meaning, and it creates the avenue for the chapter 13 to 18 of the Bhagavad-Gita. He says, those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service, who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. So how many of you want to be very, very dear to Krishna? Please raise your hands. You have to do this. You have to follow this path, which is imperishable. It is not like some demigod worship. Demigod died, my worship also died. I also died, everything died. It is an imperishable path of devotional service. And those who completely engage themselves with faith, not with doubt. Sanshayatma vinashyati. Those who have doubt, they will be destroyed. But those who engage themselves with faith, making me as the supreme goal, they are very, very dear to me. And those who are very, very dear to me, I will carry to them what they need, and I will preserve what they have. And I will be the swift deliverer for them from the ocean of birth and death. I will destroy the ignorance in their heart by the shining lamp of knowledge. And so many other promises which we saw, which Krishna has made. So with this, we come to an end for today's discussion. Sorry for the extra time due to various unplanned, unforeseen circumstances. We'll end our this session here. Thank you very much. We will continue tomorrow with the chapters 13 to 18 of the Bhagavad-Gita, in which we are going to discuss very, very interesting facts, which will further strengthen our belief in the process of devotional service, and it will give us some solid ground why we should continue to be enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna. So those who are online, we are signing off now. See you tomorrow. Hare Krishna. And those who are here, physically present, we will